we believe in bridging that gap between this generation and the next generation. But we also realized that we had to make it in a way affordable for people to participate, and we had to make sure that it was linked to something in the real world.
Before we continue with the video, I'd like to invite everyone to Investment Conference 2023. This is an event that we co-founded about 10 years ago with the goal to educate people about investing and different investments that are out there. We have a lot of speakers from Randall Chongson, Rex Mendoza, David Lichu, Alvin Ang. But what's interesting for this year also, since I've been pushing and I've been a very, very big advocate of Web3 cryptocurrencies and NFTs, we're adding crypto into the mix. If you want to venture into crypto and NFTs, check out the link down below. It's happening May 27, 2023 at Samsung Hall. We're gonna have 1,000 people, 1,000 investors joining us. So I hope to see you there. See the links below, and back to the video.
Hi everyone, we have a very exciting guest in the show today. We have Brian Poe, co-founder of Artifract, joining us and one of the speakers of ICON 2023. Brian, it's an honor to have you here.
Hi, it's an honor to be on the show and to be here with everyone. I'm really excited for ICON.
We're going to talk about NFTs in a bit, but I want to know, do you value saving? Is it like a strategy also for you, or as long as I have NFTs, I'm okay for life already? What's the mentality?
No, honestly, when you have capital, I really feel that you should divide it between everything. We have to be realistic also. I mean, ideally you should save, because you never know whether or not there's going to be a medical emergency or something that you have to pay for immediately. So it's definitely good to save an amount, but like every good investor knows, money in the bank is sleeping. It could be working for you. So it's also good to set aside a certain amount for investing in different things. NFTs could be one of them, but there are other forms of investments as well. So it depends on your level of comfort for risk, because that's a big part of investing and saving.
Got it. I'm curious on this. You're relatively younger than me. I'm turning 40 already this year. My question follow up to that is, a lot of people at least in your generation, they like to YOLO. They like and I don't know what's gonna happen in my life 5 years. What made you realize that, okay, I might as well save also while I'm young? Because what you're saying to me, this is something that's against the grain, against the flow, as compared to at least majority of my generation, millennial, and then Gen Zs as well.
Right. Well, first of all, you're not that far from my age. I would have guessed that you were in your 30s, like young 30s. But generally speaking, what made me decide to go against the grain? Well, my parents have always been very, I guess, guiding when it comes to how I handle my finances. I'm very lucky because when I got my first job, my dad sat me down and kind of like said, you need to set aside money for different things. You need to set aside money for your house, for your eventual car, for your health, general spending for fun. Because let's be real, I mean, it's not just the YOLO culture. We're just people. We have to let off some steam somehow. So you really have to set aside some money for that. And then when you visualize the entire pie, it becomes easier to set aside like a little bit for each thing. But yeah, so that's basically how it started. And being a reporter first, that was like my first job outside of the Senate. It was a meager amount, but it was good enough for me to practice already, saving and setting aside money.
You mentioned about, okay, it's okay to save money, but if you leave everything and you save everything, you'll miss out on not just the value of the peso or the dollar depreciating, but you'll miss out on opportunities. What made you have this realization that you also need to invest, given that, especially for Filipino culture, investing is medyo taboo because people like to get rich quick. That's why a lot of people go to lotteries or scams, because they say it's guaranteed or they can get a jackpot. Investing is a bit methodical, you could actually lose money when you invest. What was your thought process behind it?
What I realized was, if you're really just gonna rely on your 9 to 5 job, you're really gonna struggle. I mean, let's be real. The job market isn't super fair. It's tough out there, in terms of salary. So you really have to find side hustles. You also have to find things that you can invest in passively. One thing that I practiced when I got my first job and I only had a small amount, obviously it's not enough to start a business, but it is enough to start learning how to invest your money in things like the stock market. Back when I started investing, wow, that was like what, 10 years ago. Bitcoin and Ethereum were kind of still like, there were like 5 people in the entire country that knew what it was, that kind of thing. So the options for what you could invest in were also limited, but it was good to practice already. I remember with my friends, we were all new hires. We would talk about like what blue chip companies were good to park your money in, which ones were a bit more aggressive. There are different, I guess, financial advisors or thought leaders that you could follow at the time. I don't know if you're familiar, or if you've met Bo Sanchez. He talks a lot of how to stay, yeah, and how to invest. He was one of the first people that I would read about, because back when I started investing, there wasn't TikTok, so there weren't a lot of influencers, I guess, for financial management. So that's something new. There are a lot of people who talk about what you can put your money in, how the markets are doing, what type of investments do well. The problem now is not so much access to information like it was before. The problem now is there's too much information. So it's a question of, who are you following? Are they reliable sources for your investing? Or are you following the right trends? Or are you hopping on the hype bandwagon and are you about to fall off, right? So those are the new concerns of this generation. But at least they have access to the information and more options for investing. I think that's probably what's more exciting these days.
What should be part of the discussion also is, if the person that they're following or listening to would match, like, say, their timeline and the risk tolerance that they have. Because someone who's in their early 20s listening to someone who's probably in their 40s, there's already a mismatch right there in terms of capital and in terms also of the risks that they could actually take, and maybe their time horizons will be so different also. So I think there also has to be a match with the people that people follow as well.
Yeah.
I want to transition into this. You mentioned about Bitcoin and the stock market also. When I started out, when people saw me, I started investing in the stock market in my early 20s. When people saw me investing, they said, "Why would you do that? It was so risky to invest in the stock market." But right now, when you look at Bitcoin, then ETH, then crypto, and then you look at NFTs, the stock market looks so tame. It doesn't look so scary anymore compared to how it was 15, 16 years ago when I started out. What made you jump into that category? Because majority of the Filipinos won't go to that route first. There are other more traditional say investments that people would get into. So maybe why stocks and why Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general?
To be fair, I was a bit late to the game for crypto and blockchain. But in terms of the stock market, ever since it was kind of interesting to me, I was very fortunate because I had a friend who was a bit older, who was well versed in the stock market, and he was a trader. So he would teach me what he could, and I kind of got bit by the bug, and I started kind of like putting in a little money here and there. What people don't realize is, and I guess this is becoming a bigger and bigger problem, is they keep following people who like already made it, and they're talking about how they made it, whatever, and then they get discouraged if it takes time to get to that point. But the reality is, overnight success, probably 1 in a billion. But everyone else works hard, day in, day out, to put in a little bit of money each time in a different investment, different savings, do 1 or 2 jobs at the same time. Like, I'm definitely not an advocate of quit your job and do a startup or something. I don't believe in that. I believe that You should have a stable job, 9 to 5, makes good money, build a career, but then take that money and invest it. Maybe start a small side business, invest in the stock market or in crypto if your risk appetite can handle it. But generally, like we have to be realistic about those things. Why did I pick to jump in the stock market aside from my friend being a trader? It was easy. It was about the discipline, being able to put a little bit every day, or at least every time you got your salary, to take a little bit of that and then put it into the stock market, and kind of not be bothered by the ups and downs, and just know that it will be a general trajectory going up over time if you invest in the right thing. And then just the discipline of reading about these companies, right? Like, some people just put in money because, like, well, I assume this is going to do well, but not all of us are going to be day traders, right? Most of us are going to be investors long term. So you really have to read about these companies, and that's such a healthy habit. And I think that's something that a lot of the younger generation don't have anymore. Like, I don't think they have the discipline to read the news every day and go to the business section and see what these companies are doing, because that informs your investment. If they have like great projects in the pipeline for the next 3 to 5 years, then you know that your stock will do better in the next 3 to 5 years, right? So it's really a discipline that I hope the next generation can continue to maintain, even if, crypto's super exciting and the news about crypto changes every hour.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I say this all the time: the fastest way to get rich is to do it slow, because the slower you do it, the more you love the process and the experience, and the more you become unshakable also. And what you said totally resonates with me, that you don't quit your job, because especially for stocks and trading, when I started out, you can't even use your phone to be able to trade. Now you could do this, you could do all of this while you're working on your job or you're doing your business as well. So very, very well said. So to everyone watching this, please study, please take the time. It's not a one size fit all strategy as well. It doesn't mean that if people you listen to are into crypto, doesn't mean you have to go into crypto as well. I want to end with this. You're the co-founder of Artifract. Why do you believe in NFTs so much? What is in NFTs that you're building on it? It's different when you're just an investor, you're buying NFTs, and then either you like it because of what you can get from it, or maybe because it's so good also, the value goes up later. It's harder to actually build something. There's something inherent that you believe in it. That's why you want to do something with it as well.
When we got into building Artifract, it was really, we just had a vision of kind of transitioning fine arts into the NFT space. Because we believe in bridging that gap between this generation and the next generation. But we also realized that we had to make it in a way affordable for people to participate. And we had to make sure that it was linked to something in the real world. We weren't, I guess, we didn't have the risk appetite to go fully digital. So we realized that we had to connect it with the art estates and the art that's actually present in the real world. And that has actually been the saving grace of the business. Because whereas a lot of other NFT projects really banked on hype and marketing and the fun of being able to use it, and we went the other route, which was how can we leverage the technology to preserve our culture, our history? How do we make it useful for the next generation? And thank God we made that gamble, because it's what's keeping the business afloat amidst some other NFT projects which are struggling at the moment. And that's the thing. I think it's doing well. I think it's doing okay because we're looking for ways to tie it with real world functionality. And for us, that's being able to give a little bit to these art estates. One of the big problems that the artists we've talked to, or the art houses we've talked to, deal with is obviously intellectual property rights. So the way that we pitch it to them is we basically tell them, well, guys, listen, just like everything else, like photographs, videos, and other replicas, your art will be on this medium one way or the other. So wouldn't you rather control it already, be there, first mover in the market, make sure that your intellectual property right is protected there? Sure, we're in our infancy stage, and everyone's still trying to figure out how to protect their rights to their art in the space, but that's the beauty of having a ledger, of having it viewable by everyone. If they know that the NFT and the art is being produced by this art house, and they can see it on that ledger, that they can track it back, it solves so many things. One, for artists, they always have problems with provenance. How do you know the painting is real, right? Blockchain solves that. You can trace it all the way back to the first sale. Another problem artists have is, I'm not popular now, I die, and then my family never gets the benefit from the art I made. Blockchain also solves that. Smart contracts, if you write it at the start that any art sold, a little bit goes back to the original artist, then that smart contract will always carry. So every time it gets sold in the future, goes up to 2 million pesos, you'll still get your royalties from that next sale. And a lot of the art houses have been so responsive to this. One, for provenance, two, for royalties, two big problems that need to be addressed in the art space, which blockchain addresses. So that's why we've been pretty confident with the project.
Well said. And if there's one thing that encapsulates everything you said, what you're doing is something that solves a real problem. It's not just something people buy just to speculate on. And that's what I believe NFTs will do. And you said it perfectly. It's very early, but it will solve a lot of problems in terms of transparency that we have never seen before as well. What can they expect from what you want to share in Icon 2023? Where can they reach you to hear your thoughts about NFTs? And then where can they learn more about Artifract as well?
Well, definitely hit me up on my IG. That's where I communicate the most. So it's at Hey, it's Brian Poe. Then you can also check out artifract.io if you want to see what our latest projects are. I'm really looking forward to the conference because hopefully by that time we might have some more exciting projects to announce. And because like any other project in the NFT space or in blockchain in general, if you're not evolving, you're dying. So we're definitely evolving, and I'm really excited to be able to share that with everyone during the conference.
Got it. What if may mag-DM daw na, ang cute mo naman, Brian? What how will you respond with that? But anyways, thank you, Brian, for taking the time to share your thoughts. Catch Brian this May 27, 2023, Samsung Hall. Links are in the description below. And I'll put his IG account also and the website of the NFT project below as well for you guys to get to see and research it as well. So thanks, Brian, and I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.